Do you want to hear a construction joke? Sorry, I'm still working on it. Just messing. Welcome back to Bobbville y'all. Ready to get part 2 of this animation video poppin'. In our past videos we've gotten our player to move, given it bones, and animations. Now let's use this animation tree, and some very simple scripting, to finally bring our creation to life. By default, the animations we've created might be all out of order and jumbled together. We can drag and drop them into position. I can also see that Doodle Fall is set to the default layer, and we don't want that. Right-click on the Doodle Idle animation, and select Default State. So you can see, on entry, Doodle Idle will play. Now to connect the rest of these we'll right-click again, and make a transition to the next animation. But in order for this to work, we'll have to set up some conditions called parameters. For this basic intro to animations, we got kinda lucky. We really only need 3 booleans. True-false statements that check is the player, is walking, is jumping, and is falling. Make sure you're adding parameters, and not layers. Now that we have our parameters we can make our conditions to change animations. So from idle to running, the condition is running must be true. One of the most important parts for this is to remember to uncheck all these default things that will throw our animation transition off. Uncheck has exit time and fixed duration. Lastly, set the transition duration to 0. This goes for most animations dealing with movement. So obviously, the opposite transition is under the condition that is running is no longer true. So the player goes back to idle. Next, from running to jumping, when is jumping is true. I also set is falling to false on this one. Next, every time our player jumps, he'll eventually fall, so only one transition is needed here. When is jumping is false and is falling true. From falling we'll either go back to idle, or continue running, so we'll set these transitions as well. Remember we can fall without jumping, so it's important to add that too. Great job making it this far. While I finish taking off all the exit time stuff, go on ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you find you've made a mistake in transition direction or simply don't need it, simply just click the transition line, and pop that delete key. What we still need to set is the jumping animation, from idle. And the falling animation, after running. You know, like running off a cliff. We're looking good now. Hot dog. Now that we have our transitions set up, let's crack open our player script again so we can add a few things. Once open, you'll first have to create an animator. We'll call it anim. In our start function, we'll call our animator to our player script with our getComponent method. Boom. Last, in our update function is where we'll be taking the boolean parameters we set in the animator and setting them in our script. First, if our x direction is anything more than 1, and our y position is 0, then we know we're running, so set the is running boolean to true. Else he's not moving and is running would be set to false. For idle it's pretty simple, we're not moving so we'll set is jumping, and is falling to false. If you're jumping then your y velocity is gonna be greater than 0, and if so, we'll set is jumping to true. And last, if we're falling then our y velocity is going to be less than 0, so when that's the case, we'll set our is jumping to false, and our is falling to true. And that should do it. Feel free to go back and grab anything you've missed. And grab this scale flip code if you don't already have it. I know it's been a lot but it's cool, because now we have this animation with bones things covered. Before we test out our animations, make sure your player has the animator tag, and the correct animator controller in it. Ooh-wee. Let's preview to see what we got. The walking and the jumping looks fire, but there's something going on with the landing. Let's take a look in the animator tab. Make sure the transition from falling to back to idle does not have an exit time or fixed duration. And wham, bam, that should do it. Let's try that again. We're becoming little beasts at Unity. Slowly but most def happening. Oh. It looks like there's a problem with our sprite moving down slopes. Not to worry, we'll cover this fix in a later video. That's all for now. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.